Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's on Disciplining the Soul, Kitab Riyadat al-Nafs, translated by Timothy Winter, Abdul Hakim Murad. We have reached in our reading page 79. This is still part of the exposition of the way in which young children should be disciplined and the manner of their upbringing and the improvement of their characters. The very last part of the last session, I have read the following paragraph. Children should always be made to deem the love of gold and silver an unsightly thing, and should be warned in this regard even more vigorously than they are warned about snakes and scorpions. For the vice which consists in such a love is more dangerous to them and to adults also, and than poison. Before moving into the next paragraph, which is still uh, educating children about manners, about ethics, about behavior, proper behavior, let's just reflect for a second about the notion of what is being said here. I think it's very appropriate to not love. Imam Ghazali says gold and silver. That's exactly what was the currency for a long, long time. And even when government started printing money, paper money, fiat, it was still covered by gold. You could cash your banknote and get gold in it, in exchange. This relationship continued until President Nixon um, stopped this relationship between gold and printed money. Uh, and rather than covering your notes with gold, now you cover your banknotes with dollars. He said that it is temporary, and it's been literally 50 years. I don't think there is a return in the American system, because rather than the $100 being supported by a real amount of gold, now it is simply being printed, costing the $100 would cost pennies to print. Pennies, I mean, whatever is the amount, it's not going to be a large sum of money. So here you are. But why I'm saying this? It's about the love of money. Do not get the idea that kids should not have knowledge about gold and silver. In fact, it seems that adults do not have knowledge about gold and silver. Uh, had they known this, they will not keep the cash money that they have as is, let's say, in banks, because the money loses its real value, inflation, uh, gradually, you'd be surprised that the purchasing power diminishes over time. You need more printed money to buy the same thing that you used to buy 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You might even double the. So, what I'm trying to say, do not leave your children without understanding even the basics. The notion of the economy and in the original notion of the economy, it's about managing your uh, on the micro level, the house economy. Really, that was originally the notion, the house economy, on the micro level. And this is a translation of this into Arabic became Tadbir al-Manzili, and rather than Tadbir al-Manzili, these classes usually they are given to girls and not to boys, and it is boiled down rather than economy and being money smart. It became I don't know how, but teaching girls how to make cakes and biscuits. No, there are two different issues here. Teaching the children about to be street smart, money smart, uh, basics, but at the same time also the not to love the gold and silver. It's in your hand, it's in your pocket, it is somewhere, but it's not in your heart. So we continue reading. A child should be put in the practice of not spitting, yawning, or wiping his nose in the presence of others, and taught not to turn his back to anyone, or to cross his legs, or lean his chin and support his head on his hand, for these practices indicate the presence of sloth. Spitting and wiping the nose and all these things. When it's very important to teach kids and adults to have tissues, a handkerchief to be handy just in case they need to wipe one if one needs to wipe his or her nose in public. But also there are adults who keep just simply poking their noses, digging as they call it, whatever. There was once a professor, very long time ago. His, uh, it's not something that one should say, but so that people would pay attention. He his finger was always in his nose. Walking around the campus, his finger was always in his nose. I mean, he could not stop. It's a very bad habit. And the truth is that, I mean, I would avoid shaking hand as much as possible with him. This was long, long time ago, and it was not in in Jerusalem. It was not in Palestine. Overseas. So there are certain behaviors that people should pay attention to. There are also cultural norms about the legs. Crossing the legs, that's one thing. In our culture, sticking your legs in the face of other people is very inappropriate. I was shocked when I went to the United States in 1984, and when I started my graduate studies, and I saw a student literally putting his legs up in the face of the just simply first row, and his legs were up facing the professor, who was an elderly person. Even if he were young, they don't really do that. You don't do that. He should be taught how to sit and be forbidden to speak excessively. People who speak excessively, they have a reason. I'm not just there is no justification, but I'm trying to say people who act out, uh, whether speaking, there are some hidden issues that need to be addressed. Refer them, if it's a school, refer them to counseling, trying to find why this kid behave the way he or she behave, why they behave this way. So, and be forbidden to speak excessively, it being explained to him that this is a sign of imprudence and the custom of children from low families. It really, it could be even from good families. Making oaths of any sort, whether true or false, should be forbidden. Should be forbidden, so that he never acquires this habit as a child. For the most part, children will mimic their parents. If making oath is not part of the family culture, then most probably that will not be the case. Though children will pick from their classmates, from their friends, they might pick up a thing or two. And one should, there's a statement attributed to Imam al-Shafi'i, رحمه الله: ما حلفت بالله لا صادقا ولا كاذبا قط. والله أعلم about it, but I have never taken oath by God, neither speaking the truth nor a false oath. So simply you don't. And you should, one should avoid really taking oath. Either you believe me or you don't believe me. Taking the oath will not make you believe me, unless it's the court, unless unless you have to. That's a different story. Glorifying the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should not be mentioned in vain. He should be put in the habit of never speaking before anyone else, and of speaking only in response to questions and in proportion to them, and of listening properly whenever an older person is speaking, and rising when he enters, the older person, and making a place for him and sitting facing him. So you don't speak before others, you respond in proportion when you are prompted to answer a question, and you listen properly. Ponder, listen, question internally, uh, turn the idea around, um, reflect on it, and speak if necessary. Uh, and this is not only for children to narcissists would definitely, and not only narcissists would, sometimes you need to speak, but sometimes ask other people to speak before you do, allow them to speak before you do. Nelson Mandela, the South African leader, said about his father in his memoirs that his father was a tribal leader, and they would sit in a circle to discuss things. And he said that his father would ask everyone to speak before he does. This way, he knows where people are, how they think, uh, and the notion of consultation. If you consult someone, the etymology of the word shura in Arabic uh, entails, it's as if you are adding the experience, the intellect, the of the other person to your own intellect, their reason to your own reason, their brain to your brain. I'm not talking about the physical. Uh, so if you consult two, then you have three life experiences. If you consult 10, you have 11 life experiences. Listen, always listen. And there was once a meeting in, that I was part of it, and they were the meeting took place in Jerusalem, but they were not from originally. They were from overseas, and at the end of the meeting, they asked that we'll be silent for a few minutes to reflect on the whole meeting, about what we have said, about what we have agreed. Maybe there's an idea that uh, that was not really discussed very well. Maybe we were speaking and we're not listening to each other. Maybe, and I like the idea of reflecting at the end of the meeting on the whole meeting, but after silence. He should be forbidden to speak loosely or to curse or insult anyone. Of course, but at the same time, lead by example, or to mingle with those who do such things. for these habits will inevitably be acquired should he fall in with bad company, the preservation from which is the very root and foundation of the education of children. Um, there's a tendency amongst teenagers, adolescents, to mimic each other, thinking it is cool and to blend in. So they might the way they walk, the way they talk, the way, but that would include also insults. If his teacher strikes him, he should not cry out and sob or seek anyone's intercession, but should rather bear his punishment and be told that to do so is a mark of courage and manhood, while to cry is the practice of slaves and women. I think the most important daily activity in general is the prayer, salah. The Prophet ﷺ said, told us to teach kids how to pray when they are 7. This is the formal part. I'll get back to that, inshallah. And he said, uh, hit them when they are 10. And the word hit is a translation. That's a translation. I think it's important to think about it. First of all, the most important thing here, the prayer, you should be praying. It's not that out of a sudden, when they become 7, you start teaching them about prayer and they have no clue what you talk about. If you do pray at home from time to time, at least certain, and not only from time to time, your sunnah, maybe there is room for praying at home. Maybe sometimes you lead your family, the whole family, in prayer. Rest assured that the babies in the family will start prostrating on the carpet in front of you. They will play horsey on you. They will ride your back, and it happened to the Prophet ﷺ, and he kept prostrating until his grandchildren had enough. They were satisfied. They played enough. So the kids will be around you. They will see you praying. They will participate. And slowly, slowly, they will be part of the of that lovely congregation at home, if you will. At 7, of course, this is the age of discernment, according to Imam Al-Ghazali and others. You start teaching the children, and they do grasp, they do understand. If you teach them, they understand. The way I understand the 10-year mark is that you by then it should have been inculcated in the psyche of the child. Prayer is important. Everyone is praying, inshallah. It's an obligation. They understand all these things. Darb is like for example, with with wives, there are steps that one should take before divorce if there is an issue, and the wife is the you should be very objectively. You could be the man, the issue why things are not okay at home. So if she's you know if she's the word disobedient, it's not obedience in a negative sense. It's in the sense of whatever you say, there's always something against it. Whatever you suggest, there's always something against it. Whatever your your ideas, your taste, your whatever is the case is rejection, 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 and if it's a matter of taste, one might ignore it, but it could be something crucial. So in this case, the steps taken, uh, advice first of all, then you talk about being in the same room, but there is no deliberately no relationship with the spouse, trying to put pressure on your spouse. Number three is the word in Arabic entails ضرب, أضربهن. Now scholars said you take your miswak, your siwak, your almost like your natural toothbrush, if you will, a twig that its end splits, becomes like a brush. You take that and you signal reaching that third stage. It's not about causing harm. And I think this should be important. The teacher might not need the hitting. There was plenty of this when we went to school as kids, even in middle school, high school. That was still part of the picture. Sometimes it's very damaging, and physically very damaging. That should not be the case. I cannot stress this more. That should not be the case. There is no need, and in many countries it is outlawed. There are other forms of punishment, depriving children from the school break, depriving them from field trips. So there's something you can use in order to send a message to the kid rather than hitting the child. One of my neighbors in East Jerusalem, eldest son, went to the same middle school here in Jerusalem. The elementary and middle school are it's the same place. At any rate, his arm was broken. The teacher broke his arm. He hit him and he broke his arm. And the same child, same son, after a while, his father is a very peaceful person. He did not create problems. But his son once also came home with his head literally split with so many stitches. That's that's torture. Some people, there's a cultural, uh, there's a cultural component in this that should not be the case. I have to stress this. And the comparison with women, I also there was more than once in Friday sermon at Al-Aqsa Mosque. The khatib would say that this is the behavior of women, and you are not a woman, and that should never be the case when you talk. There are women who are intelligent, pious, courageous, steadfast, resilience, name it. There's this and there is that, and the same thing amongst after school. Here it does mention playing. He should be allowed to play in a fashion which gives him some rest after his hard work in class, although he should not be allowed to grow exhausted. To prevent a child from playing and to fatigue him with constant lessons will cause his heart to die and harm his intelligence and make life so hateful to him that he will cast around for some means of escape. The next paragraph is a very long paragraph, and I think it makes sense to stop at this point, and we leave this paragraph until the next session, inshallah. Until then, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.